Hippie-Fari Reggae Radio and Podcast is brought to you by The Island Rhythm, the dopest reggae-inspired and Rasta-inspired designs, clothing, and everything else you could possibly imagine. Check out theislandrhythm.com. Check out Island Rhythm on Facebook and on Instagram. Once again, The Island Rhythm is where it's at. Much love. Reggae at the Rock 2025, Daytona Beach, Florida. Hippie-Fari Reggae Radio and Podcast. I've been trying to get this guy on the podcast since it started. Mr. Lance O from Kulcha Shok. What's going on, Lance?
Hey, just, here doing my thing, which I love to do. So I'm very grateful to be here and thankful to Reggae at the Rock. Thankful for what you do. And, we all play a part. We all play a role. And we couldn't do it by ourselves. So thank you for having me.
Amen, 100%, man. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come on. So why don't you kind of go ahead and just kind of tell us a little bit about Kulcha Shok, man. Yourself as well, but, your introduction to the reggae scene and kind of what led you to start Kulcha Shok and bring it to the brand that it is today.
Well, it actually started, I lived with my uncle when I was a little kid for a little while, and he was the one that turned me on to reggae. And it was basically through Peter Tosh.
Nice.
So
that's how I got my introduction.
So Peter Tosh would be at the house hanging out with us. And I was just a little kid, and I remember hearing it for the first time. The first song I ever heard was Legalize It. And I was just blown away. I was like, what is this? And I just sat there for days on end. And I remember watching, I think, this might have been later on. I think it was later on. But I was watching the Olympics, listening to that album with the album sleeve in front of me, singing all the lyrics and not knowing exactly what I was saying.
Right.
But that's how it started.
Right.
And then from there, like the next major event in my life for reggae was I went off to school, and Mom said, do something you love, because if you're going to live in this country, you've got to work.
Amen.
So I decided I wanted to go into music, and I played music. I played drums. I played piano. I played pianica. But, if I were to do it again, I probably would go that route, but I didn't feel like I was proficient.
Right.
So what I did is I went and started a whole new career, a whole new entry into the music business, which was when I went to school, I liked the school, but there wasn't a lot of opportunities. I decided to go into radio. Right. And I started a radio station in school, helped co-found the radio station in college. And that basically is what launched my career. And that's where I first came up with Lance-O on the radio.
Right.
And, being on radio kind of draws attention.
Sure.
So to speak. So people were like at me and whatever. I not automatically, but pretty much instantaneously became a DJ. I had people requesting me to come and do house parties and
sure.
bars and whatever. And, and then I kind of did that, and I worked at the local station as an intern to do the part that I didn't know too well, which was production.
Right.
So I did some production. This was when we were splicing reels, reel to reels, splicing them and taping them. And then everything, obviously later on everything became digital. But that's kind of where I got started, and then I moved back to Miami, started working for Reggae Report magazine, and that kind of opened up the doors to me getting back on radio because they sponsored a radio program on the first 24-hour U.S. all-Caribbean format radio station.
Nice.
So I started working there through them on Mondays and Tuesdays. Mondays, one day I had every week, 6 to 7. And then, you know, sometimes I'd fill in, and then that lasted about an hour. And I was like, I went and took a surf trip to figure out what I was going to do.
Right.
And then when I came back, I decided on that trip that I was going to call that station. Lo and behold, they were trying to get a hold of me. So I got back, it made it easy, and then they offered me a time slot, 9 to 12 on Saturdays, which was a problem slot for them because everybody wanted to go out.
Sure. Yep.
So what happened was, I was like, I'll take whatever you got.
Yep, amen.
Okay, and then they were telling me, oh, the 7 to 9 is causing problems. I'm like, I'll take it.
Yep.
So
you were 7 to 12.
7 to 12.
Nice.
So I took a dead spot
Yeah.
for them, or a problem spot, and little did I know that I was pulling Arbitron ratings on AM radio
Wow, that's awesome.
in the 90s to the early 2000s.
Wow, that's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it was I didn't even know. I didn't know. I was just doing my thing.
Right.
You know, so that kind of like took my career to another level. And a couple years after that, like, you know, I got into I do so many different things. And what happened was, you know, it was Lanso on the radio, Lanso this, Lanso that. And I wanted to take some of that off of me. And so when it came time, I decided to form Kulcha Shok.
Right on.
And kind of take that attention off of me and let it deal with the business and legalities and the logistics of the business side of what I was doing.
Sure.
So that's kind of how Kulcha Shok came about, because my career was blossoming,
Sure.
you know, through the years. And, you know, it took a little while to figure out the name. It was basically a process of an elimination. I had 3 names, and it ends up that all 3 were taken, but
Right.
Kulcha Shok was the last one, so
Yep.
I just ended up keeping that one, and that's why I spelled it different, just so
Yes.
it looked like it was different.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's kind of how I started in reggae, how I started in business, how I started doing this, and I've been very fortunate. We started a radio club in college when I was 17, and I've never looked back.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, so...
So it's really, really cool that you're the first person on this podcast. If you listen to any of my podcasts, I always ask people how they got their start in reggae, and everybody says Bob Marley. Mine is Peter Tosh from the cassette tape, Legalize It.
Yeah.
Yep, 100%. And I have that song Maga Dog burned into my brain.
Yeah.
I grew up surfing, and that's all we listened to in the pickup truck on the way to the beach, on the way back was Peter Tosh, Legalize It.
You know, and speaking of Bob, what happened too for me was, it was Peter, and then I learned about Jimmy Cliff and The Harder They Come.
Right.
Because they actually played that movie in my local neighborhood theater, which is a very small town.
Right.
But, you know, we catered, you know, back then there was the hippies, and there was island people on the other side of town.
Right.
Bahamians, and
Yep.
mainly Bahamians and some Jamaicans and Haitians in Miami. And so I got into The Harder They Come, which turned me on to a lot of different people.
Yeah, heard.
You know, Toots and Jimmy.
Yes.
You know, the Melodians and everybody, Shantytown, you know, the Slickers, like, amazing soundtrack. Then it was, I think the Wailers came in after that. And then I started getting into a lot of the harmony groups, like the Mighty Diamonds.
Mighty Diamonds.
You know, those kinds of 3-piece harmony bands that Jamaica was well known for.
Yes,
and
yes.
really established a sound. You know, and crazy enough, I just learned the other day from another podcast, and the guy said that layering of the vocals and production editing was created by Jamaicans.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the layering of the vocals. That part makes sense.
Yeah.
But the editing part,
Right.
because, and then if you take it one step further back, so if you auditioned, say, for Studio One in Jamaica, you had one take.
Right. Because it was
had-
analog, right? That was it.
Yeah,
They
it was
can't mess
one
with tape,
take.
Yeah.
Like it was
Yep.
too expensive.
Yeah, sure.
So when you look at it from that perspective, it makes sense that they created editing.
Right, sure. Yeah, 'cause you
understand?
had to get it right.
Yeah,
Yep,
exactly.
that analog tape. And it's funny that you mentioned the Mighty Diamonds. I just had Squidly Cole on my podcast 2 weeks ago. And I believe it was his uncle was in the Mighty Diamonds. But yeah, another absolutely fantastic. The singing drummer Squidly Cole. That was that was an incredible interview. So I know you're definitely you follow the roots reggae and the soul of reggae. Is there a particular message or something that drew you into it? Something that Peter Tosh said. Where you were like maybe revolutionary that kind of grabbed at that part of your mind, where you're like, this is what I need to be listening to.
Well, it was more the music actually.
Okay.
Like the drum and the bass.
Yes.
It was just such a different sound. I grew up listening to, what's considered classic rock and, Simon and Garfunkel.
Sure.
That's what my parents listened to.
Right.
So I kind of listened to that, and then my uncle played this music one day, and I was like, I was a young kid, but I was tripping.
Right.
literally tripping, going,
Yep.
whoa, what is this?
Yep.
And it was kind of the music itself that drew me in, but then obviously I adapted, I embraced the culture.
Yes, amen.
And I, like I said, I grew up with a lot of island people and a lot of Latin flavor in Miami too, so those were kind of the cultures that I embraced growing up without, I got all these cultures in South Florida and I didn't have to go anywhere.
Right.
I learned how to speak Spanish. I learned all the accents for all the different people from around, the Latin countries around the world, as well as the different accents for all the islands. So I can usually pick up on somebody. Once I hear them speak, I can pretty much tell you where they're from.
Where they're from.
Most of the time. Especially if it's strong. If they've been in America a long time, then it makes it tricky.
Right.
So, but the message ended up now, coupled with the music is definitely at the forefront.
Absolutely, man.
You know what I mean? Because, I basically adopted the principles of Rastafari.
Amen.
And, kind of went that route.
Yes.
And, my diet and being healthy and natural
diet, yes.
and it's all on that path. It rings well with me.
Yes, absolutely. I think it would ring well for a lot of people if they would actually just pay attention to it and understand where it's coming from. The I and I message. It's you and me. We are one.
Yeah.
With the Almighty. But so I know your introduction was Peter Tosh.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's talk about now. What are your driving influences now? To me, it's still like the mid '70s roots reggae and a lot of the St. Croix roots reggae, Von Benjamin.
Yeah.
It's big time. I even named my cat Von Benjamin.
Well,
do you have any influences now that still keep you going?
Oh, of course. It changes. I spend most of my free time listening to music. If I'm not surfing, if I'm not working, if I ain't hanging out with the Grom, I'm listening to music.
Amen.
And I have to force myself sometimes because it gets backlogged very fast.
Heard.
I listen to music every day, and so I'm always trying to find those new artists. I love breaking new artists, discovering new music. A lot of people are like you. They're stuck in that golden era of reggae in '70s.
Right.
But what a lot of people don't understand is that sound is still very prevalent today.
100%.
And there are bands all over the world putting that music out still to this day. I could play you something that released yesterday, and you would think it was out of Channel 1 from 1973. Right,
yep.
You understand?
Yeah, I love Groundation, Tribal Seeds. Groundation still does the analog recording, which is very nice.
Yeah. Well, Harrison's very much into that.
Yeah, 100%, yes.
And he most of the time records in Jamaica as well. But, I'm drawing a little bit of a blank on who, but, obviously, I'm still stuck a little bit on the, you know, the reggae that was coming out with Chronics and Protege and Coffee, you know, the revival as they were calling it, the reggae revival.
Right.
You understand? Because they were kind of coming back with that quote-unquote 70s sound as well, but they were adding a little bit more to it. And, I mean, I'm still very much into that sound, but, you know, there's in that camp and that crew and that movement is growing still to this day.
Okay.
You have, like, singers like Jazz Elise, you have Yeza, you have another singer named Jalil, David Slur.
Right.
These are some of the progressive artists that I really like that are coming up.
Are you into any of the UK reggae by any chance? Have you ever heard of Holly Cook?
Oh, of course.
Oh, my God.
I mean, her producer, come on.
Man, yeah. She is a go-to. Her dad was a drummer for the Sex Pistols. And her mom sang in Culture Club, a backup singer. She is something special, man.
Yeah, for sure. She's definitely got a lot there. I'm trying to think of his name. Her producer's amazing.
Oh, yeah, the music is just incredible.
I can't remember his name right now. I'll think of it.
Oh, wait. Prince Fatty?
Prince Fatty.
That's it. Boom.
Italian guy.
Yes, man. Unbelievable.
Dude, you know, I'm sure a lot of your listeners know Stick Figure.
Oh, well, yeah.
Okay, but let me tell you, he did one called, I think it was Rockin' Stone. It was a remix, a 6-song EP.
Yes.
I heard a song on there. I've listened to everything Stick Figure ever put out.
Sure.
And one of my favorite songs from them now was one of the ones he remixed.
Yep. That was great. That came out a couple of years ago. Yeah, that was phenomenal, man. When I first saw it, I was like, Prince Fatty remix? Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, I mean, I like Stick Figure, but they're not, like, up there.
Sure.
But when Prince Fatty touched it,
yes, amen.
Like, you know, people would always come up and ask, play Stick Figure, and they're like, I know this song, but I don't know this version.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
why does it sound so good?
Yeah, it sounds great, man.
Yep.
Like, to me, it's the best stuff they have.
That's awesome, man.
You know, so, you know, there's more. I just can't think of them, but there's tons of them. There's tons of, you know, people that are coming out, and, you know, and it's weird. Like, there's a band called The Irie from the Midwest.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
Yeah, they have a song called Crazy. It's just like, it's so different than the rest of their stuff.
Right.
It blows my mind, you know, and I mean, I really, you know, seeing Howie last night, Spangler from Ballyhoo, you know, I don't think that guy, I mean, you know, Ballyhoo's a popular band, he's a popular person, but in my opinion, from a musical standpoint, from a critical, opinionated, professional standpoint, that guy has some of the best lyrics.
Right.
And that guy's melodies, dude, he should be selling millions of records.
Oh, he's definitely talented, man.
Millions of records with his melodies, dude.
Right.
His melodies are just banging.
And he knows how to get them in, too. You know what I mean? He knows how to make
sure.
the music feel good. He knows how to get people listening. You know what I mean? It's just,
He's really good at what he does.
100%, man.
You know, like last night he started with Clip My Wings. That's the first song off of the last album for Ballyhoo. And I called him and told him, I said, look, I've not been listening to anything off of the album other than Clip the Wings for the last week.
Right. It's awesome.
I'm like, dude, this song that melody is so good. He's like, dude, I love that song. So anyway, you know, he's just somebody I would love to, you know, there's many good ones, you know, in this genre. You know, and it's like, I've kind of had this question in my head lately that I think, you know, I really want to know what some of these guys call reggae.
Right, sure.
You understand? Because, like, these guys on stage,
reggae adjacent. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, these guys on stage right now are pretty much a rock band.
Right, sure.
And, you know, but they're categorized as reggae.
Right. Or at a reggae show, sure.
You know, obviously they're influenced, but they don't do much reggae. They're good. They're a good band.
Yep. I
ain't got nothing against them, but, you know, it's like I really feel like the word reggae has been stretched.
It has, severely.
You know what I mean?
100%, man.
Because, I mean, you can hear reggae. I mean, there's pretty much almost every fusion of reggae with anything and everything in the world right now.
100%. Who did it in the 90s or the like the mid 2000s when reggae and hip hop started to infuse in New York City? Not Bougie. Well, anyway.
There was Mad Lion. He was probably the first from the underground out of Brooklyn. Yeah. But then, you know, kind of Shabba went that way.
There you go, Shabba Ranks.
Shabba went that way. Yep. Even Maxi Priest, you know, I Want to Get Close to You is kind of like a light hip-hop R&B song.
Right.
More than it is reggae.
Sure.
But, you know, Maxi has a great voice, and he's got a lot of talent, so you can't deny him. But, you know, it helped him kind of elevate his career and kind of cross over into that mainstream.
With the music being, like you said, stretched out, do you feel the message is being stretched out as well?
It depends on who you're listening to.
I hear you.
You know, the American stuff is a lot more, say, poppy.
Sure.
A little bit more not so preachy.
Sure, exactly.
You
Not
know,
so
maybe having a little more fun lyrics into it.
Right.
And, you know, and I've heard that complaint about traditional reggae. And to some extent, I have to agree with them that it's true.
Sure.
You know, reggae could probably, the more traditional stuff, could use some stuff that's a little bit more fun. You know, that's kind of where dance hall came in.
Yes, absolutely.
But they've kind of lost it. Now it's gone to more trap hall.
Oh, big time.
And, you know, for me, that stuff is absolute garbage.
Yeah, the trap music.
The trap hall. I don't even know trap, but I know
the deep
trap hall.
bass drops with the wah 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 wah. It's almost like dubstep reggae. Yeah.
It's like those drum patterns. I mean, it's complete garbage. I listen to all of it too.
Right.
And I can tell you, in the 5 years it's been around, because it came out in COVID. In the 5 years it's came out, I think there's 2 songs I can listen to.
Right. Yeah, I hear you.
You know, and it's like, you know, people are calling me up going, what in the is this? And I'm like, that's the new generation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
You can't deny them.
Right.
You don't have to embrace it.
Right.
But it's obviously not going anywhere. Like,
right.
people think, oh, that's going to last. That ain't going to last.
Right.
I mean, we're almost 6 years deep.
Right.
You know, we're 5.5, good 5.5 years in.
Well, people thought this dubstep in the electronic dance music community wouldn't last 20 years ago, and it's probably the most popular form of EDM right now, I think.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Even, you know, I mean, drum and bass obviously dropped off a lot, but
yeah, I
think drum and bass was
it was huge.
Yeah, but that was the platform for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, with drum and bass, it was up there. You could go all the way to the bottom. You had the dubstep, then you kind of went to the middle. You had the break beat, but at the top, you had the drum and bass, which is the driving force of a lot of it.
And I think that's what really made way for dubstep.
Right, sure.
You know what I mean?
Agree. Yep. Let's slow it down a little bit, you know. Right. Put it on 33 instead of 45. Oh, cool, dubstep.
Exactly.
Yep.
And I actually like dubstep a little bit more because it was more reggae.
Yeah,
reggae
definitely.
based.
Yep. And you could add, a lot of the raga music, Yeah,
for sure.
Very influenced. Well, cool, man. Well, thank you so much for the time. Can we go ahead and talk about Kulcha Shok now?
Sure. Anything you want.
What are the plans into 2025, going into 2026? I know you're going to keep doing the festivals. You're still going to be a selector, and you have some amazing designs. We own like 4 Kulcha Shok's bags, 12 hats, 10 shirts. We love your stuff, man.
Thank you.
Are you just going to keep it? Are you looking at like designing new stuff? Are you going into more merch? Are you going into more doing festivals? What's kind of the plan for you? Because I know you're I know you have a crew, but it's Lance O. So what's your plan?
Well, you know, a lot of times what I've always done with my career is I let the business dictate what I do. You understand? I never planned on doing bands, but I love bands.
Right.
Now it's like it's almost essential to everything I do. There has to be bands involved. Even me as a DJ, I don't want to just DJ.
Right.
I want to see live music too. So one of the things, there's definitely going to be a little bit, I mean, we're going to still keep the same kind of merch to extent, but there's going to be a broadening of one aspect of it that I can't tell you now.
Oh man.
But there's going to be a new aspect that is there lightly, but it's going to expand on that just because there's a market that I'm not fully tapping into that supports me.
Okay.
So I'm kind of going into that direction. And, you know, I can tell you in the last year to maybe 2 years, there is 4 to 5 annual festivals that I used to do are gone.
Okay, wow.
So, you know, I know these things are a financial burden.
Sure.
You know, I mean, as much as we know and love this one, I know this one needs help too.
Yeah, sure. Yep.
Reggae at the Rock could use more help, and I help them as much as I can.
Yep.
You know, festivals, you know, I was given a gift, and all my training of radio had prepared me for emceeing.
Right, sure.
You know, when the biggest bands you know in the world that do what you love tell you that that's the best they've ever had.
Right.
You know, when everybody's telling you that, you know, I realized, I was like, man, I guess this is what I should be doing.
Right.
You know, from Slightly Stupid to Sublime to, you know, the reggae bands.
Right.
I mean, you know, the roots reggae, everything. They're all telling me, oh, dude, that was the greatest intro. I mean, ask Moy from Tomorrow's Bad Seeds. He's one of my biggest fans. You know, he's like, dude, I want you to introduce us. And I'm like, but they got another guy scheduled, you know, I'm not,
right.
You know, but whatever, you know, it was very encouraging.
Right.
So, you know, that has always been my direction for like the last 10 plus years. But because they're falling off, you have to make an adjustment somewhere. Because honestly, I definitely should be working more, but it's just not there.
Sure, I get it.
You understand? I mean, I can DJ. You know, there's a lot of DJs out there. You know, and you know, I feel like I kind of found a niche with the MC thing.
Right.
Because there doesn't seem like there's that many, and the ones that are out there don't seem to aren't that good.
They're not passionate about it. I get it.
Well, yeah, maybe they're passionate, but you know, I think the only difference between a lot of them and myself is I just do my homework.
Right. Sure.
You understand?
Yep. Amen.
I mean, I've been blessed with a good sounding voice, and you know, the part that I was born with.
Right.
You know, not everybody sounds good on
a microphone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like, so some of it has to be innate, inbred in you.
Amen.
So, you know, that part I was gifted, and, you know, I had 5 years of college radio training.
Yes, that definitely helps.
I got to, like, perfect what I was doing. And, you know, after I graduated, I finally could listen to myself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? After it took me 5 years.
Without cringing, you know, when you hear yourself on recording, you're like, oh my God, bro.
My eyes are crossing.
Yeah.
You know,
like,
it's
you used
like.
to have an answering machine growing up. You would hear yourself. You're like, do I really sound like that? Dude,
yeah.
What the fuck? Yeah.
So, you know, and it was when I went and interned at the commercial radio station that my boss taught me a lot. And I always went back to look for that guy, and the station changed hands a couple times, and I just wanted to, like, thank that guy and hug him.
Right.
Because of his little bit of guidance. And I know how busy that guy was. I was like, I just wanted to personally thank him because he made, you know, textbook is one thing. Going out and doing it is another.
Sure.
And
100%.
then having a professional guide you after you've been through those 2 major steps, it was huge for me because, you know, he's like, just be your best and worst critic.
Yep.
And I was, but never really took that to the level he showed me.
Right.
So tape yourself every time. Listen to every show. Listen to everything you say. And then you can go back and critique yourself and find out what you don't like. You're going to know. I can tell you, but you should know. And I sure enough.
Yep.
You know, and then I started listening to the cassettes on myself, and I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I'm onto something.
Yep.
Maybe I can actually do this professionally, you know?
Absolutely, man.
So
I wish I would have tapped into it when you did. I listen to I do the same thing with my podcast. The beginning ones, I'm like, oh my God. Now I'm like, I'm getting a little bit better. And I'm like, man, damn it. I wish there weren't a million people doing podcasts now, you know?
well, they thank COVID for that.
Yeah, no kidding, man. All that. So,
you know, but a lot of the flip side is there were a lot of music was created during COVID.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yes, and a lot of people learned how to create music, not even having the whole band together. It was just send the track. Freaking somebody would mix it, post-produce it, and boom, put out a track, you know, and they're all in four corners of the world, man. It was absolutely amazing.
Yep.
So, kind of wrapping up, tell me, I know you're a huge surfer. How in the hell do you surf in Miami?
Well, Miami's definitely tough.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I grew up there. That's where,
yeah.
you know, I can't even really say I learned to surf in Miami because I really learned to surf at RCs and Satellite.
That makes a lot more sense. I lived in Satellite Beach.
That's like we used to drive up there every weekend. You know, there were no surf reports.
Yep.
You know, I had my little marine weather box, and that's all I listened to.
Yep. Amen.
And we only got Deerfield Beach to the Upper Keys.
There was offshore wind.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it. So you just hope.
Yeah, the you know, now you
low
can
pressure
go on.
system. You're like, let's fucking go.
Yeah, you know, now you can get everything you want. But so we used to just go and surf. You know, we go up there. Sometimes the inlet, Sebastian Inlet. But, you know, surfing's become, I've been doing it almost my whole life.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I'm more stoked than ever to surf.
Awesome, dude.
You know, I mean, a couple years ago, I said to myself, you know, I got to exercise.
Yeah.
So
I'm getting there too, bro.
I made a commitment to myself that I will surf every single day.
Good for you, man.
And I do. I have to drive sometimes.
Right.
Drive a lot, but I surf every day.
That's great, man.
You know, once in a while I get some landlocked gigs.
Yes.
You know, it's tough to surf in Cleveland unless
well, the Great Lakes sometimes get swells, man.
I've you know, there's been waves twice.
Yep.
So, you know, but like this year, that's outside of an injury. That's the one day I missed.
Right, that's beautiful.
You know, because what I did was I flew up the morning the festival started, surfed that morning, worked the next day, and then flew out the next day, Sunday. Like I surfed Friday morning or Saturday morning, whatever it was, and then flew out Sunday night, so I missed Sunday.
Right.
And then when I got home Sunday night, I surfed Monday.
Nice. Hell
so, you know, so, but surfing is definitely a very intricate part of my life. It's pretty much how I start my day.
That's beautiful, man.
You know, every day it's holistically it completes me. It keeps me grounded at the same time. It takes care of every aspect of my being.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah, so it's,
the ocean has a way of healing you.
Yeah, it does. You know, it keeps me in shape.
Certainly.
Keeps me mentally grounded. You know, I'm not all stressed out. It's easier to deal with the day. You know, but you know, I speaking of which, like, you know, when I made that commitment, I went to the surf shops and said, hey, you know, can I buy like bulk? Can I buy a case? They're like, oh yeah. And they're like, gave me a discount and whatever. It was cool, and was getting boxes. And I said, you know something? Maybe I should just start my own. And I did. This is the first place I'm ever have it out publicly for sale.
A board?
No, surf wax.
Oh, wax. No shit.
Yeah, it's all bees, wax.
Kulcha Shok surfer?
Well, it's a product of Kulcha Shok, but I call it Wave Wizards Wax.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's all natural. It's only 5 ingredients.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, and I've gotten really good response. So
that's killer, man. Hell yeah.
So, you know, that's just that's something new.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, so, you know, maybe that'll...
Your passion and turned it into something you can, you know...
Yeah, maybe, you know, hopefully we'll see what happens.
Hell yeah, man. That's incredible.
But,
awesome, dude.
Yeah, so, but, you know, I've got 7 Instagrams.
Right.
7 different things I do. But only the main one is still Kulcha Shok. Everything goes through Kulcha Shok.
Yep.
I run the South Florida Board Riders Club, which is doing pretty well, at least on socials. The team, we could use some help, but we don't have a lot of ways. But we also got one for Wave Wizards Wax. We got one called Surf Every Day. We've got Kulcha Shok, of course. We've got Shockwave, which is my weekly blog.
Right on.
You know, we don't make posts every week. We probably should, but we got that. We've got we're gonna start doing some stuff with Island Hoppers TV, even if it's just putting up old clips. So we have that, and
Nice.
then I have a Latin side of Kulcha Shok called Culture Latino.
Oh, nice, man. I love everything Latin. The food, the music.
Yeah. So we're doing going to be promoting some Latin and Spanish reggae as well.
That's beautiful, man. So where, give us some socials, man. Where can people find Kulcha
Everything
Shok
I just
Lansdowne?
said.
Okay, perfect.
It's culture.shock. It's
That's all Insta, right?
this is all Instagram.
Beautiful.
I mainly use Instagram. A lot of it, if it's through Kulcha Shok, it'll be posted on my Facebook personal.
Okay, perfect.
But there is a Kulcha Shok Facebook as well. But everything's pretty much like I said. It's Wave Wizards Wax.
Yep.
It's sfl.boardriders
Right
club.
on.
There's Shockwave blog.
Okay, cool.
There's Island Hoppers TV. And there's Culture Latino Reggae.
That's awesome, dude. I'm
So-
definitely looking forward to that one, bro.
So yeah, the Culture Latino is gone because I gave the name to a friend of mine who was kind of doing it before me out in California, and so I kind of I just added reggae to it. Culture
Right.
Latino Reggae.
I love it.
So that's pretty much it. So
That's awesome, man. Right on. Well, thank you so much. Lanso, Kulcha Shok, Reggae at the Rock 2025. Woo! Thank you so much, buddy.
yeah, man,
Much
much pleasure.
appreciated, man.
Always.
Much love, brother.
Yeah, man, much love.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Boom. That was